When my autistic son refused to eat, I screamed at him for wasting food and made him sit there until the plate was empty. He threw up all over himself. I cleaned the floor, not him. That was the last time he let me touch him. My son Oliver was diagnosed with Asperger's at 7. Academically, he's always been brilliant, reads 3 grades above level, crushes every math test, remembers facts most adults would forget in seconds. But socially, he's always been different. Not mean, not aggressive, just off in ways I couldn't explain to people. When he was 9, he spent an entire year obsessed with vacuum cleaner brands. I'm not exaggerating. He'd sit at dinner comparing Dyson suction power to Shark for a solid hour. If you tried changing the topic, he'd wait for a pause and circle right back to it. Back then, he attended a special education school. Smaller classes, trained staff, more tolerance for quirky behavior. It worked well enough. He didn't have friends, but he wasn't miserable either. Then middle school happened. My wife pushed hard for mainstream private school. He can't be sheltered forever, she said. He needs to learn the real world. I had doubts I knew how brutal 12-year-olds could be. She promised things would be different now that kids were older, more mature. She was wrong. From month 1, it was a disaster. Oliver came home talking about eating lunch alone, kids rolling their eyes when he sat near them, groups going silent when he tried joining conversations. He couldn't explain why nobody liked him. My wife blamed the other kids. They just don't understand his uniqueness. She's been coddling him for years, making excuses, never holding him accountable. But I've seen how he acts. He talks at people, not with them. If something's funny to him, he'll repeat it 15 times even when nobody's laughing. Right now, he's obsessed with Peppa Pig, the preschool cartoon. He watches it daily, talks about it to 7th graders. He once told my cousin at a barbecue that he prefers the Emoji Movie to most adult films because it's visually more stimulating. 3 weeks ago, he came home crying. Kids yelled at him in the locker room, called him names I won't repeat here, said he was creeping everyone out. My wife went nuclear, called the school, demanded meetings, wrote angry emails. We sat with the vice principal and teachers. What they told us wasn't shocking, at least not to me. His history teacher said he's academically excellent, but persistently disruptive to peers. Not malicious, just distracting. He'll randomly ask classmates if George Washington would have liked Minions. Another teacher said he makes exaggerated smiling faces at random students in hallways, then doesn't understand why that makes them uncomfortable. They tried being diplomatic, but the message was clear. He's not fitting in. He stands out in ways that make middle schoolers uncomfortable. And anyone who remembers being 12 knows exactly how cruel that age is. My wife won't hear it. Every time I suggest Oliver needs to work on blending in, she shuts me down. He shouldn't have to change who he is. But we don't live in a utopia. The world doesn't accommodate people obsessed with Peppa Pig at age 12. Everything boiled over last week. Oliver came home devastated, wouldn't eat dinner. I found him crying in the living room with my wife. Why do they hate me? He asked through sobs. What did I do? Something inside me snapped. Because you're annoying. Dead silence. My wife's mouth dropped. Oliver looked stunned, like I'd physically struck him. I kept going. Your teacher said it in your report. You constantly talk about stuff nobody cares about. You make faces at people. You cover your ears and run out when bells ring. Kids don't know how to deal with that, so they mock what they don't understand. Oliver started crying harder. My wife told him to go to his room. He ran off, and she absolutely lost it on me. Called me a monster. Said I traumatized him. We screamed at each other for 30 minutes. I ended up on the couch. The next morning, she demanded I apologize. For what? I asked. Telling him the truth? There's a difference between honest and hurtful, she said. I disagree. What's hurtful is letting him live in a bubble where he doesn't understand why kids avoid him. We've spent years softening reality, and it hasn't helped. He's still behind socially. No amount of shielding changes that. I'm not blaming him for being autistic, but I won't lie and tell him everything's fine when it clearly isn't.